For thousands of years, the mighty civilization of ancient Egypt flourished along the banks of the Nile. Yet, throughout its entire existence and far beyond, its people were plagued by a phantom affliction, a silent terror known today as the Pharaoh's disease or the Pharaoh's curse. In antiquity, there was no cure, and even for millennia to follow, doctors would hopelessly flail in the dark trying to fight it. So, what is this ancient curse? Its modern name is schistosomiasis, a disease caused by schistosomes, which are blood flukes or parasitic flatworms. In 1910, the pioneer of paleopathology, Sir Mark Armand Ruffer, discovered calcified schistosoma eggs deeply embedded inside the kidney and bladder tissues of mummies dating back 1250 BC, hence the name. Ancient medical papyri warned of the dreaded AAA disease, describing an agonizing condition characterized by blood in the urine and hard, swollen nodules blooming within the abdominal cavity. The parasite manifests in two forms, intestinal and urogenital. The latter ravages the bladder, forcing blood into the victim's urine. In ancient Egypt, this symptom was so extraordinarily universal that when visiting Greek travelers observed the population, they wrote in bewilderment that Egypt was a strange land where the men menstruated. Recent groundbreaking studies reveal a horrifying reality. Up to 65% of ancient Egyptian mummies harbor these calcified parasite eggs trapped inside their tissues. To feed the empire, millions of everyday citizens, farmers, fishermen, washerwomen, and playing children, waded barefoot through the muddy canals and Nile waters for hours, day after day. They were walking targets. Floating invisibly in those waters, the microscopic fluke requires only a few minutes to bore straight through unbroken human skin. Once inside, they mature into male and female adults. Their mating ritual is eternal. The male worm possesses a deep structural groove running down his body. The slender female slides herself into this canal, and they fuse together. Mated for life, they remain locked in this twisted embrace for up to 10 years, acting as a relentless factory that pumps thousands of eggs directly into the human veins. But to continue the cycle, the parasite's offspring must escape. The eggs tear through human tissue to exit the body via urine or feces, flushing straight back into the lifeblood of Egypt, the Nile River. Once in the water, the eggs seek out their next host, freshwater snails. Upon infiltrating the snail, the egg morphs into a master cloning unit called a mother sporocyst. This mother sac replicates asexually, birthing dozens of daughter sporocysts. These daughters then clone themselves, mass-producing thousands of free-swimming larvae called cercari. When the time is right, these newly minted executioners bore their way out of the snail's flesh, flooding back into the open river. But it can only survive for 48 hours. If it fails to find a human skin to puncture, it dies. But in the crowded, sun-drenched waters of the Nile, where hundreds of thousands of these invisible killers swam daily, the odds were heavily stacked in the parasite's favor. For an unsuspecting Egyptian stepping into the water, infection wasn't just a possibility. It was practically inevitable. For thousands of years, the people of the Nile could do nothing but endure. From the dynastic pharaohs to the modern era, generations of Egyptians lived, labored, and died under the shadow of this agonizing curse. The microscopic flukes held the entire nation hostage, draining its vitality piece by piece. In the 1920s, the government's efforts to fight the disease had very limited and controversial success. When Egypt built the Aswan High Dam in the 1950s, the engineering marvel backfired. The dam stopped the seasonal flooding of the Nile, creating slow-moving irrigation networks. It inadvertently created the ultimate, permanent paradise for freshwater snails. As a result, unfortunately, the parasite population exploded. It seemed the pharaoh's curse was truly unbreakable. But in the 1970s, a discovery changed everything. German pharmaceutical companies created a revolutionary medical miracle, a medication called praziquantel. Approved human use, this cheap oral medication changed the rules of engagement entirely. With just one dose, praziquantel systematically paralyzes the adult worms and strips away their molecular camouflage, allowing the human immune system to instantly hunt down and destroy them. Armed with this new weapon, The Egyptian government orchestrated one of the most aggressive, relentless public health campaigns in human history. They launched the National Schistosomiasis Control Program, turning schools and rural mosques into distribution hubs. Millions of citizens received mass preventive treatments. Concurrently, the government attacked the second half of the cycle. They deployed advanced, targeted molluscicides to safely wipe out the snail reservoirs in the canals, upgraded rural water infrastructure, and launched massive public awareness campaigns warning people to stay out of contaminated water. The results were nothing short of miraculous. From an endemic nightmare that infected over half the country's population, Egypt systematically crushed the parasite's foothold. By the late 2010s, the nationwide prevalence of the disease plummeted to a fraction of a percent. What began as an invisible, prehistoric curse etched into the tissues of ancient pharaohs was finally brought to its knees. It stands today not as a story of eternal suffering, but as an undeniable testament to the absolute triumph of modern medicine and human ingenuity over the oldest horrors of the natural world.